Howard Ream,
Here?
Dalton Barlow,
Here.
Tom Holm,
Here.
Alma Hammond,
Here.
John Chatwin,
Here.
Jerusha Darger, Nathan Burnham.
Do we know if Teresa was planning on calling in?
She asked for the number yesterday, and so I'm assuming she was.
Okay. Well, being that we have a quorum, we'll go ahead and if Councilman Hammond wants to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. This is the public comment portion of our meeting. Anyone from the public is invited to make a comment at this time. Please step up to the podium here. State your name for the record. There is a standard time limit of 3 minutes per person. Although we welcome and invite your comment, no discussion or response from the council is required, and individuals should not anticipate any. If there's somebody from the public, please step up to the.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, staff. This is Charles Hammond. Just wanted to make a few remarks. I did something very similar yesterday at the Planning Commission meeting. I was looking back over the time spent on the commission, and just for kicks, I went and did a search in my email, and I found an email from Mayor Allred back in June of 2018, which was the email he sent me when he asked if I would be willing to participate on the Planning Commission. And I printed it out really just for myself, but I was excited to notice that it was in June of 2018 and we're in June of 2025. So I thought that was quite neat. But I just have a few prepared remarks that I'd like to deliver. Thank you for allowing me a few moments to speak tonight. I'm here with deep appreciation as I formally step down from my role in the Carlisle City Planning Commission. First, I'd like to thank the City Council for the trust that you placed in me, appointing me to this commission back in 2018. It's been an honor to serve in this capacity and to contribute to the shared responsibility of shaping the future of our city. I'm especially grateful for the ongoing support and guidance that the Town Council provided over the years, as well as your vision for a stronger and healthier Colorado City. Serving on the Planning Commission has been one of my most meaningful opportunities of my civic work. Over the years, through many thoughtful conversations, public hearings, and deliberations, I've done my best to uphold the Commission's charge to help guide development in a way that respects our values and prepares us for growth. I also want to extend my sincere appreciation to my fellow commissioners that I've served alongside. Their commitment and insight have made this work both impactful and fulfilling. Though I'm stepping away from this role, I'm not stepping away from service. I remain committed to the future of Colorado City and look forward to staying involved in a new capacity, one that will hopefully allow me to continue contributing to the strength of our community. And lastly, I'd like to thank the residents of Colorado City. Your input and participation and passion have been essential. You remind us all why this work matters. Please continue to ask questions and stay engaged, because the city thrives when its people are involved. Thank you again for this opportunity to serve. It's been an honor, and I look forward to what's next for us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles.
Thank you.
And thank you for your service.
Thank you, Charles.
Are there any other public available wishing to speak? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public comment portion of the meeting. Item number 5, we'll canvass the results of the special election held May 20th, 2025. Shirley.
So Town of Colorado City held a special election to amend the procedures of how we elect a mayor and to establish a four-year term. The special election was held on May 20th, 2025. The total number of ballots cast at the special election was 248. Of that 248, 196 were yes votes and 52 were no votes. And so that's everything unless you have questions about it.
Does the council have any questions? Hearing none. So ARS 9-272-01 states the common council may, by a majority vote of the qualified electors of the city voting thereon, either at a regular or special election, provide by ordinance that the mayor shall be directly elected by the electors rather than selected by the common council. With that, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 2025-11, accepting the results of the May 20th, 2025 special election.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Are there any opposed? None opposed. One absent. Motion carries. Item number 6. Award the bid for the records room and ADA ramp project. Vance.
Okay, we budgeted in FY '25 to do a remodel that will remove this window well back here and build an enclosed records room. The engineering took a little longer than we anticipated, but we got it done and put it out to bid. And the low bid was Crimson View Enterprises LLC in the amount of $139,560. And we are requesting the council to award that bid and let us proceed with that project.
Thank you.
If you have any questions on it, it'll be between me and Andy, we can probably answer most of them.
Was it in with budget, or is it close, or?
Yes, this was actually lower than our estimate, so.
Are they local?
Yes, yes, it's Aaron Dockstader, Aaron and his brother Ephraim Dockstader's company.
They're the ones who did the other.
Yes, they're the ones that did the remodel on the building.
Does the council have any questions?
Does it have anything, is this still a storage closet here?
This room back here is a storage room, yes.
Does it have anything to do with that?
No.
Okay.
So what it will do is it'll do similar over here. We'll close this window off, we'll access it from the other side of that wall. And it'll have a capped ceiling, and that capped ceiling becomes a patio that accesses those two outer doors. So those crumbling stairs get taken out. The sidewalk out front, we'll redo that ADA so it's more compliant. It'll put us in compliance with the updated ADA standards. So, and it should dress up the front of the building quite a bit.
Is that room about 10 by 10 or 8 by 8, or what do you think it'll be?
Remember, Andrew?
Probably more than double that.
Yeah, it's a
Oh.
pretty good sized
Oh,
room.
bigger than that. Oh, I see. Okay.
Any other questions? Well, with that, we will entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion that we award this to Crimson View Enterprises.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Are there any opposed? None opposed. All right, item number 7. That motion carries to award the bid to Crimson View Enterprises for $139,560. Item number 7, consider resolution adopting tentative budget and salary adjustments for fiscal year 2025-2026 and setting a budget hearing and a possible adoption for July 14th, 2025 at 5 p.m. Vince?
As you recall, a week or so ago, we had a work session on the budget. And so this is the tentative budget. In the budget packet is a letter outlining the highlights of the budget. This year, the tentative budget is 59 million plus. The reason it's so large as compared to prior years is that we're working on some federal funding that if it comes to fruition, we have to have it. Arizona doesn't allow us to open the budget and increase it like Utah does. And so you have to get all of your if-thens into your, so it gives you some really wacky budgets sometimes. But that's a $38 million that we're working on. Chief Radley's been pushing it. That would put some communication towers across the north end of the state and tie us into the state that way. If we back that back out, then the actual budget is a 13% decrease from prior years. The reason for that is that one is we have smaller FAA grants. We're not doing a taxiway this year. And also the ARPA CARES Act, that money's pretty much in our rearview mirrors now. Overall, the general fund increased by 221,000. And we talked about some of the state funding challenges in the work session. We are reflecting, this does reflect a drawdown of 700,000 from fund balance, which will leave us with approximately 500,000 unbudgeted fund balance, which is the bare minimum for our size of a budget. On page 2 of this letter in the packet, I did the chart there with that 38,000 back, or 38 million backed out. So you can see the general fund, well, that didn't print very good. The general fund is 25% of the total budget. Internal service funds, which is water, gas, landfill, those types of things. 13%. Debt service funds, which may or may not come to fruition, are 18%. And special funds, your grants, other things that may or may not materialize, and they're 31%. On page 3 of the letter, then you've got your 3-year general fund and HERF comparisons. So you can see that law enforcement's been having some pretty good step-ups over the last 3 years. They are always and forever, well, because we don't have a fire department. And police is always going to be the lion's share of the budget. Just is. Unless there's specific questions, then I'm glad to.
Does the council have any questions?
Yeah, one of the things that we didn't discuss in the work session was in regards to the wells that we drilled down here. What are we doing about getting funding for getting electrical, getting those tied in and usable?
That's our next agenda item.
We'll talk about that specifically here in the next
I'll
item.
just give you, we are looking to do some of the RA grant funding for that.
Oh, okay.
Did we find we were talking about fees on, or some sales of industrial property?
I did factor an amount in for that. We're still a ways from being able to do that, but we're working on it. We're working with our legal counsel to get the process.
This budget doesn't reflect the shortfall we talked about in our work session?
Well, in Arizona, we have to get to a balanced budget. So we either find a way to increase revenues or decrease costs. We did some of both, but I did factor in a potential number of 250,000 for industrial lot sales if they come to fruition. Now, there's some other expenditures that, depending on cash flow, may or may not happen.
Does the council have any other questions?
In regards to the sale of the property out there, what, do you have a price per acre that you have in mind? That,
No, we'll have to get appraisals done.
well, how can you allocate money for, or at least count on
You
the
just
money?
do an estimate, your best guess estimate.
I hope it's low.
Well, that, obviously, that number doesn't assume selling all of those acres.
Well, I know, but I just,
And I have learned that I estimate revenues conservatively and expenditures more conservatively. Because if we get more, we can always do more, but we're not building a budget that says we're gonna get $1 million when we know realistically that that probably won't happen within the next year. It may over the course of the sales over a number of years, but at this point, we really don't have anything better to base on than just an estimate.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. With that, we will entertain a motion. Or I would make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2025-12, setting a budget hearing date of July 14th, 2025 at 5 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time, and adopting the 2025-2026 tentative budget.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Are there any opposed? None opposed. All right, motion carries. Item number 8, consider approval of CDBG Public Participation Plan. Andrew.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. In the comments, there was a couple of errors on the so the second meeting will be in with a council meeting, and it will be the July council meeting. I think it'll be the 14th. If you look at the plan that's in the packet, it has the correct with another error in there. And that is the publishing dates on the June 27th is 2025, not 24. So, but this is we're redoing the public participation plan for the RA grant. We went through this process, I think, back in September for the RA and the SSP. But with on the last process we went through, we had selected the general plan update, and that has to be changed. Our wording has to be different. It has to be a comprehensive planning grant because the general plan is not CDBG eligible. So we're calling it a comprehensive plan, a comprehensive planning grant, because that includes a lot of capital improvements and stuff in there that does make it qualified. It is also kind of tough to spend $780,000 $80,000 on a plan like that. So that, our estimate's coming up around 300,000, and we may even refine that a little bit with this application. So with that, I have reached out to ADOH and was told that with the RA and we're doing a comprehensive planning, we are eligible to do another project with it, so we can use the rest of those funds. So we're anticipating, we'll be going through this process to select another project. We do have one in mind, if that's what, through this process, you decide that that's what you want. So this public participation process is really not necessary that you approve it. This is not something that we have, that we're required to do to approve this plan. We have to have a plan. But to help you be a little bit more informed of what's going on, we've always liked to have you, consider the plan and give any directions if you think something ought to be different with that, so that we have a plan going forward with this public participation. So with your blessings on it, we have already sent the notification to the Kingman Daily Miner for publishing on the 6th, which would be this Friday, because we would be past our deadline if we waited till after the meeting. So hoping that you approve of this. So our first meeting is advertised on June 6th. The second meeting will be advertised and posted on June 27th. The first meeting will end up being June 23rd, will be a Monday. The second meeting will be in a council meeting. We'll have the second hearing, and at that time, we will have the projects listed out, some of the projects that came up with the first meeting, and you can choose from those. And if any of you have anything, we'd really like to see, most of the time, we'd really like to see more people show up to our public meetings and have more input. So, anything that you...
So for me, I mean, we're looking to open up the public participation process again, and we're, means that we can add another project. The project for upfitting those wells would be a project that would be eligible?
Absolutely eligible. We don't have the environmental review done, but for the application, it doesn't have to be done because this is an RA. It just has to be done before we complete the contract with them. So if this is selected, we'll get right on to that environmental review, which is going to be fairly simple on these, because it's just I think that there's a couple 100 feet on one well, about 30 or 60 feet on the other one. And that's all the digging that would need to be, so the environmental reviews will probably go fairly easy.
Okay. Does it appear that or as far as you can see, the cost estimates, would they fit with the balance of that grant?
So the cost estimates that we have, I think that they're coming in really close, really nice. The estimates that we have were prepared. Well, I haven't seen the estimates. I've just seen the bids that came in. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that any of that was considering that it was federal funds. Okay. So I think that the bids that we have will probably increase just a little bit because of the requirement of having the prevailing wages and all that. So, but I still think that we'll be within reason to doing both projects and doing both wells along with the comprehensive plan.
Okay. Does council have any questions for?
I have a question in regards to these wells, and I guess this is a question for Vance, but How critical do you consider this to be to get these wells online? I mean, we've had such a low amount of rain the last year that it's really concerning, but we don't know what's going to happen in July and August, but if the aquifer's sagging down and we don't have a way to draw enough water, I'm just curious to know, in your mind, how critical is this?
Well, as we look to the future, it's very critical, because we need more production. We need more production from other areas as well, but these are wells that are already drilled. We're just trying to get them upfit, and they would not be in service this summer, but they could definitely be, if this ended up being chosen as the project in July, they could easily be online for the summer of 27,
Well,
26, I mean.
if we got into an emergency situation and we didn't have enough water because of the low rainfall and all that, and we're into restrictions and everything, is it something we could do if we do get into an emergency type situation?
It's just a matter of what else you don't do.
I know, I realize that, but
I mean, yeah, we
water
could,
coming out of our taps is, and on the
Right.
fire hydrants, that's number one priority.
right.
Close to it anyway.
And the reason we're asking to reopen this is so that we can put that project on the list with the others, have this discussion, and the council can make a decision. I think it's important. I think the wells are very important. The other thing is a well sitting doing nothing starts to deteriorate.
That's my concern too. It seems to me like that.
So we do need to get them in operation.
Even if there's other dollars we need to locate and find, I'm just wondering if we do get into an emergency situation, and is it something we could revisit?
We could. I don't know how fast even. I mean, it's not like something you could do in a day or a week or a month, because we've got power issues. The big well's got to have new transformers, some significant power upgrades. The other well, I don't think it's near as intensive, the shallow well. But yeah, we can do that, and what we will do is we will go back to Jones and DeMille, who were the original engineers on it, have them refresh that engineering with updated numbers and considering the prevailing wage factor. But as far as just pulling from somewhere else, I don't really know where else you're gonna pull from without totally gutting out some other projects.
To help
What would be the
take
estimated
one of your
budget?
questions that you're having, this is the RA grant, this is guaranteed funds, this is not a
This is not
competitive bid.
SSB, this is not
If
competitive.
we make these numbers work, the project's ours.
Well, the concern that I have is with the low amount of rainfall that we've had, and the aquifer has dropped. And as it continues to drop, if it does continue to drop, there's other wells that are gonna start sucking air. And this may become a very critical situation come this year, I'm concerned about. Maybe everything just works fine, I don't know, but I'm concerned about it.
What's the budget? An estimated budget on it?
The RA mod came in, I think it's like a 770,000 or something like that, close to that.
If we bring these two wells online, do we have to go through this study and prove up the quality of the water and have the delay like we had on last?
We do have to go through those processes. Now, I think it'll go a lot faster for a couple reasons. One is that our staff, the utility staff, know what's expected up front now. The authority to construct the well was already done when they were drilled, or approval. The approval to connect is gonna be a fairly basic process. And then they will probably have to go through, if we don't have our treatment plant ADEQ approved by then we would have to update the blending plan that allows them to be used, which which both Academy Well and Well 17 are now online and operational.
So if we did have to get into an emergency situation, draw funds from something else, could we use this grant money to reimburse later?
No. That's, my understanding is that you cannot do that with the CDBG. You can't go backwards with it. It has to be forward-looking projects.
Does council have any other questions?
Is this the finish of the project, the ARPA money? Okay, that's what, okay.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, I look at it as a responsibility of ours to make good on the efforts of the county for helping us get those wells. And we need to get some pumps in them and prove them out where we have something that's useful out of that resource that they've turned our way.
Well, my concern is if we do get into an emergency situation, we have a plan of some sort.
Right.
Okay, well, I think this is that plan.
This plan isn't good for this year, though.
Well,
You're not gonna do anything that's gonna get those wells upfitted and approved before end of summer.
we couldn't even drill a new well and have it working before next summer.
So in our deliberation, then we felt like this was important enough and a valid enough option. We wanted to reopen this process, let the council have that opportunity to say yes or no in a formal decision. What we're asking for tonight is simply to approve this public participation process. Let us get it on the list with the others, go through that process again.
Any other questions? Any more questions? Nate, do you have any questions?
No, I would just say the answer's gotta be absolutely yes, but after.
Okay. All right. The only thing I had a question about is the date. We had mentioned the dates for the public meetings. Monday, June 23rd. That would need to be a morning meeting, or at least before noon. The council could make that work.
The first meeting, the council does not have to be to that one. The second one is a regular scheduled council meeting.
Okay. So the meeting number 1, the council doesn't have to be to,
And that one's already been sent to be
Yeah.
published, so we could
Okay.
meet those timelines. So
and that's the
that'll
23rd?
Change it,
Yeah.
Okay.
unless
Alright.
we push everything back.
Yeah, that's the latest that we could go and still make the July 14th. That does need to be with a council meeting.
Okay. And then the 27th is to have it completed by?
The 27th date is actually June 27th. That's an advertising date.
Okay.
That's, the completion of this process is July 14th. At
Okay.
that point, we choose, on July 14th, we choose which project, and then we go after putting together the application.
Very good. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, with that, we will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to recommend adoption of the 2025 public participation plan and set hearing dates.
I'll second that.
We have a motion, any second? All in favor, say aye.
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 Are there any opposed? None opposed. Motion carries. All right, with that, the only thing left is, does the council have any comments?
I'm wondering if the Public Works can get some weed control and spray it on the sidewalks in the grooves before, I mean, we have July 4th coming up. I think it'd help keep the weeds out of the grooves of the sidewalks.
Okay,
That should just be passed along.
Did they come up with a schedule to repair some buckled sidewalks?
We're still putting that together. We haven't actually got that project defined and out to pricing yet. they're focusing right now, they're doing striping. Trying to get the striping and stuff done this month, so ahead of the July summer activities.
Okay.
It's like making progress. So I'm out today.
All right. Well, with that, we will go ahead and we'll adjourn. It is 5:36.